Eugene Lambe is a man of depth and passion, especially when it comes to his music. That passion is what drove Eugene to walk away from a secure teaching job at the University of Galway in 1979 and take up handcrafting uilleann pipes and concert flutes. Today, musical instruments made by this talented Irishman are considered to be the best in the world, and many credit Eugene with helping to restore Irish folk music to a place of prominence throughout the Emerald Isle and around the world.
What is the difference between these uilleann pipes and Scottish bagpipes that a lot of us know?
Well, they are a bagpipe in that they have a bag. Other than that, they're very different in that there's, I think there's three major differences. First thing, the most obvious one is the bellows blow. That bellows here gives the air to the bag. And they're called uilleann pipes because uilleann is the Gaelic word for your elbow. So elbow pipes, they translate as. The air goes into the bag through a little non-return valve there, and the bag supplies the air to all the rest of the pipes. This is a reservoir. The melody pipe here is pretty unique in the bagpipe family in that it does have a double reed, which looks a little bit like an oboe reed, made from Spanish cane, two pieces of Spanish cane, very carefully curved and put on a staple. The chanter has, I think, about 8 holes, I can't remember, 8 holes, and it has keys for semitones. But it has unusual characteristics because it can play 2 octaves. Now, for it to play 2 octaves, I have to get a piece of leather. This is a piece of leather called a popping strap, a very important part of the pipers, especially when you have corduroy trousers on, because you have to actually silence the chanter, the end of the chanter, like this. And if you have corduroy trousers, the air will go down the grooves. And the reason for that is that you have to have it silenced so you can get a second octave. It's about the only bagpipe in the world that can do this.
All right, let me ask you right away, I see you pumping the bellows. Are you also pumping the bag on the other side?
Yeah, it's sort of automatic. What the bellows does is supplies the air to the bag, but all the control comes from the bag. So you control everything with your left hand.
But my point is, that's a lot of coordination on top of then using your fingers with the notes.
Yeah, and you can read a book at the same time.
Uh-huh. Walk and chew gum, not so much.
You can. I can read a book and understand it. For whatever side of my brain plays the pipes isn't the same side that reads.
But I'm going to say that you're unusual. I'm going to say that most people can't do that.
Most people can, I think. Yeah, they just don't know they can. But most musicians can read a book.
Do we want to know how you found out you could read a book while you were playing?
But I get bored sometimes.
Playing music?
Yeah, and if I see something there and I'm reading it, and I realise that I could read things and understand them while I'm playing a tune. But I can't say 2 words. I can't say Christina apt, or I lose the music. That's interesting.
So this never comes up to your mouth like the Scott pipe?
No.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so that's the chanter. The second thing a chanter can do is it can play staccato, which is with silences between notes like this. Usually bagpipes are open and they play, so they're continuously sounding, but we can do all sorts of stuff like.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that gives the uilleann pipe sound really. Now the whole body of the pipes is composed of 3 drones, which give a background hum, and these I'll play those first. And they're tuned to the bass note of the chanter, which is G. And then you have these 3 banks of things called regulators, which you can play while you're playing a melody and maybe a little bit of counterpoint. And what I'll do is I'll play a little tune on the chanter first, and then I'll bring in the drums, and then I'll do something on the regulators, so you see the whole thing working better.
Sounds like a plan.
And then you can try it yourself.
No. done. It sounded like 4 or 5 different instruments all at the same time. When was the first time you felt accomplished playing this?
I still don't feel accomplished playing it.
And you've been playing for how many years?
I'm embarrassed to tell you, 60 nearly.
Do you have a favorite? Is this a favorite of yours that you made, these pipes, or does it matter?
No.
Do they vary in sound?
Yeah, they're very mostly because of reeds. You could have a good reed or a bad reed. This reed isn't the best one now. There's one little note in that reed that I'm not too happy with, so I'll probably make a better reed.
So it's a work in progress always?
Always, yeah, especially with reeds, yeah.
You start making instruments and you decide that you're going to start a business.
Yeah.
And what year do you start it?
That was about 1979, I think.
How did you find a market?
I didn't really find a market. The market found me. I never had to advertise as such.
Really? How did people hear about you?
Word just went out. Quite a few people in the States now making pipes, but those days there weren't, so I used to go over there and show people how to make reeds and give little demonstrations. So I would have influenced quite a few of the makers that are now currently making in the States.
You open the business, you're traveling internationally, you're singing, doing all this stuff. What's happening in your homeland during this time as far as music and pipes, and is it popular?
It's getting popular at that stage. At the end of the 60s was a boom. I suppose it started with the Clancy brothers and then the Dubliners, and later on the Chieftains brought our music to international sort of audience, and also brought it to an audience here. There was a time when if you played, you go down to town today now, there's a festival on, there's music in every pub. There was a time when I was growing up, if you took a whistle out in the pub, you'd be thrown out of the pub. They wouldn't allow you to play in the pub. It was sort of like it was looked down on as you heard the music that was coming out of the radio today, the rock music now. People in Ireland would love that, but they wouldn't let you play a reel or a jig because they thought it was sort of stupid stuff. And you wouldn't ever hear our music on radio. It was always jazz, or you'd hear some classical music or orchestras or something, but you wouldn't hear music like you would now. There's places like in Dublin now, which is very, very formative. There was a pub there called Connor's. A few local musicians used to play there regularly, and people used to come from all over the country to meet those musicians, and it became a mecca for the music and a cultural hub really. So I was just one of those people that landed on there and eventually, started making musical instruments for the people who were coming.